And with this new watch, everything has really sped up, and signing up for the LTE on my watch wasn't a big deal. I'm getting 3 months free.
What you're about to hear is a test of the NFB Newsline on the Amazon Echo device. And the A word might be coming to, I guess, Amazon glasses?
Because then you could see the droids delivering your packages at the same time.
What have you added, if anything, to the new control center? And then voiceover was off, and I'm like,
oh no.
Oh.
That's what that does. Yeah. For anybody who's kind of on the fence about upgrading to iOS 11, go ahead and do it. There is nothing that's so bad that you can't muddle your way through.
Jeff, is your Bluetooth really turned off?
One day he made this sound like, whoa.
So you've noticed the typing delay in High Sierra.
Oh yeah, right away. I got done typing and Alex is still saying, in the beginning.
It's Apple, it just works.
That Blind Tech Show with Bryan Fischler. That Blind Tech Show.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to yet another Blind Tech Show. We'd like to thank all the listeners for the phenomenal feedback on our last episode. We're glad you guys really enjoyed it. Just a little house cleaning here. We are That Blind Tech Show on Twitter, just at Blind Tech Show. You can tweet us in, follow us. And then if you want to email us in and tell us what you like, tell us what you hate, tell us what you want to hear, that's thatblindtechshow@gmail.com. And due to popular demand, because we had such great feedback about our last show, if you missed it, you should definitely go back and check it out, part of the Blind Abilities Podcasting Network. You can download it on your favorite podcast player or download the Blind Abilities app. But because we had such incredible feedback, we're welcoming back in again Allison. How are you doing today, Allison?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back. I feel so loved.
It's always nice to be loved. And the one who's not loved, but we brought him back anyway because he was pretty popular and he was with us on the last show, Jeff Thompson. How you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing good, Bryan, and love is all around, Bryan. Love is all around.
I feel it. I feel it. More from Allison, though. More from Allison. We wanted to get started with some fun topics here. We do have a lot of iOS news coming at you because, we've been running betas, and we wanted to talk about now, what we liked, what we don't like, iOS 11, as well as some things about High Sierra, as well as the Apple TV. We wanted to start with some fun topics. It's funny because as I've completely lost my vision, there's a show that I stopped watching, South Park, because it's very visual and just without any kind of described video. I find it not as funny. I just don't laugh that much. But their latest episode about the Amazon Echo and Home Assistants was quite funny. Did you happen to catch it, Allison?
I didn't, but I read a little summary in the article that you sent, so now I have to watch it because it sounds hysterical.
I have to say I was a little disappointed because I watched the episode last night, and every time they said Alexa, I was disappointed because I watched the episode in full, and every time they would say the A word, my assistant would, beep like it was listening. But they say just some absolutely filthy things that we can't say on this podcast because we're PG. It did not repeat the phrases, but a lot of people did have a lot of fun thanks to South Park and adding some very, very dirty things to their shopping list. Jeff, I know you're an Echo subscriber. I know you didn't get a chance to see the episode. Did you get to read a little bit of this article?
I read where a parrot actually made an order on Echo through Alexa, and I said the word, didn't I?
You did. You said the magic word.
Uh-oh.
You're pissing people off. We can't lose any listeners.
Yeah, we just got good feedback. We have to keep it going.
Use the E word, man. But what about this parrot, Jeff?
I heard about a parrot that actually this lady claims that the parrot placed an order. I wonder what it was ordering and what happened. They didn't get into the detail that I saw, but I've actually changed mine from being able to just order directly by placing an order and would you like that, say yes and stuff like that. I put a code on mine so no one can just come into the house or it mistakenly place an order. But I heard that Amazon it's all free returns if it was placed by Alexa.
Did you put a passcode because you're thinking about maybe one day purchasing a parrot and you were afraid that it might,
I just put a passcode because my family likes to have fun with me, especially if they know I'm listening from the other room.
Oh, boy.
Now, Allison, I know that you're not a parrot owner, but has your guide dog ever tried to order anything through the Amazon Echo?
Funnily enough, he hasn't tried to order anything, but he did trigger it once. Occasionally if he's...
Really?
Occasionally he will make these little noises. I have him usually on leash when the grocery guy comes. This one day he made this sound like whoa. I mean, he was noting his displeasure at being on leash when he's normally allowed to have the run of the house. And,
yeah.
And she's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand that."
That's pretty funny. My guy knows, in fact, I just realized that the whole time I'm doing this, my guide dog's sitting on my foot.
Aw, hi, Nash.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it. And so my guy, he knows that whenever I ask, like, what the weather is, or I ask it something, he gets up because he thinks it's either time to be FEED or go for a walk.
You mean time to be FED?
Yes.
Time to be FED?
FED, yeah, that word.
There's such a thing as past tense.
Yeah, it's Sunday. I'm thinking about my fantasy football teams. My mind is not fully here and everything. But one story. I think we're all big fans of the Echo. And, and the way it's really exploding on the scene. And this is something. I think this is a pretty cool story. When I just read, and we'll put the article in the show notes, that the Echo and the A word might be coming to, I guess, Amazon glasses.
Now that would be fascinating. I would check those out.
Yeah, through bone conduction right from the glasses.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, my first experience with bone conduction, I never thought I'd really like them, was when Ira sent me a pair of the bone conducting headphones, and I do actually like them. Listening to the spoken word, I don't know if I'd want to listen to music through there, but
yeah,
I would definitely think this would be kind of cool. My only problem is, since I am an Ira user, how many pairs of glasses, when I was going blind, I'd have to carry 6 pairs of glasses due to sunlight. Now, what am I going to have to carry? 6 pairs of glasses, according to what I want to do eventually?
But you could have one on top of your head. You could have one on your actual face. You could just make a fashion statement.
One in the shirt.
There you go.
One in the shirt, folded up.
Yeah.
I would put the Amazon glasses on top of your head, because then you could see the droids delivering your packages at the same time.
I guess, is that what the droids would fly to, the signal on your glass?
Yeah. So then the packages would just fall on your head.
Yeah. Hey, I saw Johnny Dangerously where the newspapers found the guy's head and he was blind and then he could see. So maybe, we'll come up with a cure for blindness. I can see the headline now. Amazon droid package hits blind man in head. Now he can see. So that'd be pretty cool. But, something that all blind people that have Echoes have got to be interested in. We don't have, there's not too much news out there on this. I saw it on a website, a rumor about NFB Newsline coming to the Echo eventually.
Yeah.
Have either of you heard about this?
I have.
What you're about to hear is a test of the NFB Newsline on the Amazon Echo device. Full disclaimer, this is in beta, so things could be changing. I think it's fantastic that NFB Newsline is making an effort to get this out here. Can't say I'm a big fan of the voice, so hopefully that'll be the first thing that's changing. So I'm sitting next to my Amazon Echo, and I'm going to say, Alexa, ask NFB Newsline to read me the New York Daily News.
Reading in New York Daily News dated September 27, 2017. In the baseball section of the New York Daily News, there are 2 articles in this section. Article 1...
Alexa, ask NFB Newsline to play the next section.
In the Bronx section of the New York Daily News, there are 2 articles in this section. Article 1... Student stabbed to death in fight at Bronx schools.
Boy, that sounds positive. Alexa, ask NFB Newsline to play the previous section.
In the baseball section of the New York Daily News, there are 2 articles in this section.
Alexa,
article.
Ask NFB Newsline to play faster.
The vote was run through a conference call with the approval now contingent.
Alexa, ask NFB Newsline to play slower.
Jackie Robinson's special cap to protect his head from being balls up for auction by Leland.
Alexa, Ask NFB Newsline to read me the New York Times.
Reading in New York Times dated September 27, 2017. In the business/financial desk section of the New York Times. There are 19 articles in this section. Article 1. Breaking news. Uber's contract
Alexa,
in London.
read me the next article.
Getting your book from Audible.
Alexa, stop. So as you can see right now, and this is just in beta, there are a few things you could do with this, and hopefully it will get better, which I'm sure it will. You could skip from section to section, but it doesn't seem you could skip from article to article, so hopefully that's something that the NFB will address. But for now, I really got to give a major shout out for NFB Newsline, as I think it's tremendous that they are making an effort to get this news to us on as many devices as possible. Bye for now.
I honestly don't use NFB Newsline that much because
It's fantastic.
It's great. Don't get me wrong, but I have so many other ways of getting my news now that I find I don't really need it as much. And that's
If
just
you were
me.
able to get it over your Echo, though, don't you think you'd be using it a lot more?
Probably, actually, probably. And isn't it still in beta at this point, or is it?
It's not available yet. In fact, they still, I believe, may want testers, and you could contact them. We don't know if they're still accepting submissions, but if you want to reach out to them, see if you can get into the beta program, echo feedback at nfb.org. I'm not sure if they're still looking for beta testers, but what about yourself, Jeff? Do you use NFB Newsline on the iPhone, or are you still calling it in the 1865 way with the crank phone?
I use Carrier Pigeon.
Oh, useful. Very useful.
I used to use it quite a bit, and I've slowly migrated over to, well, we got the Apple News. There's so many different resources of news that I just feel like if someone doesn't know what's going on, just open up your phone. You can find many ways of getting the news. And I think it's great, that they're opening it up. A lot of things are becoming available on the Echo, like Blind Abilities podcast. You can get on there. You can get so many different things on the Echo.
And with the flash briefing.
Yeah, the flash briefing, though, I wish you could just say, flash briefing, play me ESPN News. It just seems to want to always start at the beginning, And
Yeah.
I wish you could skip around a little more. Al, I'm going to let you two in on a little secret, because I imagine, nobody else is really listening.
Huddle in close, Allison.
Okay.
Huddle in close. I actually use carrier pigeons to keep tabs on all the other blind podcasters out there and what they're doing.
Ah, there you go. So you're learning their secrets and their mistakes.
That's why our show's so much better than everybody else's. We shout out to our carrier pigeon spies that we've been using to keep tabs on them. There we go. You see, we don't even need computer sound effects. But now we've got a lot going on with iOS 11. It dropped this past week. I believe all of us were. I was late to the beta. I just really downloaded the. The Grand Wizard? No, that's not right. The what do they call the
Gold Master?
Gold
Master? Yeah, Gold Master. I downloaded that version of it, so I wasn't running it too long, and I got to dive right in because the new notification center, and I know a couple of us have a couple of different views. I think it is the worst thing technologically since Facebook decided we don't think you want to see your news feed in chronological order. We're going to curate and show you what we think is important first, because that's the way I feel like my notifications are now showing up. I never know if they're in the top portion or the second half portion.
Yeah, it kind of plops you in the middle of everything. It's a little bit cumbersome. I'm not really a fan.
Yeah, and I've had, in that top portion, I thought, okay, these are the notifications that may have come through in the last, hour or so. I've had to flick through 50 notifications to get to that bottom portion. Some of those notifications are 2 days old. Then in that second portion, the earlier today portion, I have notifications that came in a few seconds ago. It's completely illogical, Jeff.
Some of it is, I turn some of my notifications off. I don't need 6 different news things coming in with different news on the same topic. BBC, then we got Apple News, and then we got all this other stuff. So I've kind of went into my settings and actually turned off some notifications that, I like to get one good news notification, like if, like Antarctica is taking over the world. I want to know.
That happened last week. You didn't see that story because you weren't getting all of your notifications.
You turned off the wrong notification.
They're here.
Yeah. You didn't realize we're recording this podcast in Antarctinese.
Yes, we must bow to our penguin overlords.
Oh yeah. I can't do sound effects. I just can't do that. What sound does a penguin make?
I don't know. That's interesting. We'll have to find one.
Hey, if you're listening to this podcast and you know what sound a penguin makes, tweet us in at Blind Tech Show. Now, Jeff, you had some fun getting your notifications read to you.
Yeah, that was quite interesting because there's a setting. If you go into settings and go down to general, go into accessibility, and when you're into the voiceover settings, there's a spot that says read all notifications.
Oh God, that drives me crazy. Yeah.
Okay, but I turned it on because sometimes I have my phone off to my side and I just it's like a CB radio going off, just okay, I get the information, and it wasn't working. And Bryan said, "Well, you got to go in and say, yeah, I did everything like that." So we play this tit for tat. We're going back and forth, and he went into tell him how your phone was set up.
Mine just worked. I mean, mine said speak notification was off, I believe, and it was still speaking everything. Okay.
Do you know why yours just worked?
It's a true iPhone.
It's an Apple, Bryan.
We discovered this on the last show. You guys educated me. It's Apple. It just works. Although yours didn't work.
Right. Well, yours, it wasn't clicked, and yours was reading all your notifications, and that box wasn't even checked.
Weird.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Well, what ended up happening was I said to Jeff, "Well, have you reset the phone?" And a lot of times that'll fix things. And didn't you do a reset and then everything worked fine after that?
I took that checkbox off of that area. Then I restarted my phone, and by having it unchecked, read all notifications, it now reads all notifications.
Wow.
They just can't seem to get this notification center right. And one of the other things that annoys me about the notification center is, say you're on a notification and you do swipe up to remove it. The next notification isn't automatically read to you. You have to flick to the left, then flick back to the right, and land back on that notification and have it read to you.
Yeah, it's a little
But it just...
annoying.
It's annoying.
It feels buggy.
Yeah, you would think the next thing would just automatically be read.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that people were very excited about with this update was the newly designed control center. What are your guys' thoughts on it? Allison, we'll start with you. And what have you added, if anything, to the new control center?
Well, I like being able to customize it and get rid of some stuff, and I honestly can't remember what I got rid of, but I added...
The flashlight?
I added the Apple TV remote. Yeah, I got rid of the flashlight. I added the Apple TV remote, although I find that I like this new one. We can talk about it later, the new physical remote, better. But I like knowing that I can just have it there without having the Apple remote app installed. I have it pretty minimalist, honestly. I took out a lot of stuff that I don't find I use, because I like to just swipe through.
Yeah, there's not that much stuff that's really that useful. I installed the accessibility shortcut. Like, let's see what this does. And I double-clicked it, and then VoiceOver was off. And I'm like,
oh, no.
Oh, why do I need that? I still have a triple-click button.
That's what that does. Yeah.
What about yourself, Jeff? Did you install anything new? Did you get rid of anything? I assume you got rid of the flashlight.
Actually, I took a look at it, and I didn't see that there's a lot that you can really do that's going to be on a daily usage, But I did put voice memos on there. Do not disturb while driving. And I do really like the screen recording. And there was an incident where a friend of mine, Lois Strauken, she's down in South Africa. Her website was malfunctioning a little bit. And it all got fixed, but part of the fix was I sent a screen recording that I did of me typing in the web address and sending the file, which is saved in your camera roll. Then you can send it from the video folder. And I sent it, and her husband, Superman, who can see, used that and saw that I was doing everything correctly, and see the error codes that came up as well. Mm-hmm. I guess I could have also sent audio with it as well.
You can get microphone. It does not work with headphones, apparently, so just use the regular iPhone microphone and speaker.
Yeah, it turns on by doing a double tap and a hold, and a settings box will pop up and swipe down, and it'll say turn on microphone, and from there on, it's set. So next time you do a screen recording, you'll also have audio.
Yep.
Which makes me think the developers are now going to start getting swamped by everyone sending the stuff in.
Yeah, I actually just emailed a developer of my sports scores and alerts because there's a lot of heading issues or something since iOS 11. And in the email, I actually offered, I said, with the new screen recording app, I'd be more than happy to show you where the issues lie if you'd like me to go ahead and record. So, because Jeff, you had told me about this, when I reached out to a developer, I offered to do that. So I'm just waiting to hear back to see if he wants me to do that and everything. That way I can point out to him. So I think this is going to be very helpful, this new screen recording thing, for voiceovers. Because you said they put a rectangular box around so a sighted person knows what voiceover is reading.
Yeah, so it's like a sing-along, follow the bouncing ball. Whereas on the screen recorder, as you swipe, tap, or type, or change the page, each button would be highlighted, whether it's outlined or given a different illumination. The viewer is able to follow on to see the activity that you're doing on the screen.
Okay.
So it's like the idea of the voice, same idea as the voiceover cursor, so that a sighted teacher could follow along with the blind student. I assume for this to work, you have to have screen curtain turned off, too, I would imagine.
I would think so, yeah. Anytime you call Apple Accessibility on the Mac, you have to turn it to make it to connect with them and to have a screen session. You have to turn screen curtain off, because I always have my screen curtain on because the light hurts my eyes from the screen. So, yeah.
Don't mind the swiper behind the curtain.
Hey, man, I've got a keyboard commander. I shift number 6, and that puts my screen curtain on and off. So
Nice.
I come up with my nice little commands there, which I love about the Mac, being able to customize everything there. Now, another thing, it's funny. When we did a big podcast episode on my former show, we got emailed in, Downcast is not dead. They tweeted, man, that they were going to update the app. Well, anyway, I tweeted at Downcast app the other day because I've been known to be sarcastic.
You never.
Yeah.
This is Bryan, right?
This is Bryan, yeah. I've been known to be sarcastic. Anyhow, I tweeted them. I wrote, at Downcast app, I just wanted to congratulate you on your 1 year of not being updated. I did not get a response.
I wonder why.
Probably still in Maui.
One thing I noticed in the control center, and this is also on the lock screen, and I don't know if this is a Downcast issue or an iOS issue, it used to have a skip forward 30 seconds button, which was great because when you listen to podcasts and they start doing, if we ever get any advertising on here.
The folks at the Harbolt Company love what they do and can't wait to share their passion. Whether you're looking for accessible technology, the perfect accessory for your smartphone or mobile device, that elusive gift for that person who has everything, a rare and unusual item, or just something for yourself, they've got you covered. The Harbolt Company not only has a clean and accessible website with very descriptive information about the items they sell, but they also have audio description of their items and will provide technical support on how to use them. For more information, visit their website at harboltcompany.com. That's HARBOLT company.com. Or call them at 405-633-2572. Again, that number is 405-633-2572. The Harbolt Company. They don't pay retail, so why should you?
We might be doing the same advertising read over and over, and when you're listening to a podcast every day, those get really old. So it'd be great to quickly pull up that 30-second skip forward button, but that's now gone, and it's a fast forward button, which I do not care for. Have you guys noticed that? Do you ever make use of that?
That is not app specific. It's all throughout the OS.
It is. Okay. You're off the hook, Downcast.
Yeah, this time.
Yeah.
I don't mind it per se. It was a little nicer when you knew kind of like how far back you were or forward you were going. But since you can set that on a per app basis depending on what you're doing, I guess it isn't too bad.
Yeah, I'll have to get used to it. It's something I might get used to. But right now I'm missing my 30-second skip forward button. This next thing, Jeff, you pointed out to me, and this blew my mind. This is just more illogical Apple stuff. Jeff, is your Bluetooth really turned off?
I thought it was, but then again, I'm easily confused.
Well, explain where this is first.
Sure, Bryan. There's 2 settings in the control panel. So if you touch the time and then 3-finger swipe up, your control panel will appear, and you'll find 2 settings in there, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and it says on or off. The Bluetooth will also say 2 items connected, if so be it that you do have, because I have my watch and my headset, say. Well, if I turn them off, I can still check my watch and I'm still connected to my phone via Bluetooth. If I want to totally disconnect that, I can go into the settings and go to Bluetooth and turn it off. Then I'm not connected with my watch anymore. So it doesn't really shut it off all the way, and that's the same with Wi-Fi. And if you use Siri and say turn off Bluetooth, it is exactly as if you went to the settings down to Bluetooth and then shut it off, or to Wi-Fi and shut it off.
Now there's a reason for this though, because Apple feels, and sometimes whenever we use Apple products, we have to just kind of deal with what Apple feels their technology needs to be in order to move it best forward. And I'm not saying it's necessarily right, but it is a little bit of do what Apple says. And the reason for that though is because so many devices are dependent on Bluetooth Low Energy, and to some extent a little bit of Wi-Fi, ad hoc Wi-Fi at least. And so that's why Apple feels, and again, if you like more control, you're not going to like this. Apple feels that people are now using enough devices that it doesn't really behoove them to completely turn off either one.
Yeah, no, and this is great, because I would have thought this was just turning it off when you do it in the control center. So, moral of the story, if you want to fully turn off your Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, do it through the settings app on your iPhone. And if you just want to partially, maybe 90% turn these things off, use the control center. Honestly, if you're like me, you're going to forget what's in your control center most of the time, and you're just going to go to your settings to turn these things off. Now, Allison, just iOS 11's not all bad. Our first few topics, I had to start off with that notification center. But in iOS 11, did Apple finally get mail right with VoiceOver?
Yes and no.
Of course.
Because I'm experiencing a pretty significant bug when I'm moving through my message list and I go to the actions rotor and delete. It does not always reset itself back to activate.
It never does. Yes, okay.
I have accidentally deleted several important messages and I've had to do the shake to undo trash. Thank goodness we have that.
Really? I didn't know that works. So if you accidentally... I didn't mean to cut you off, but so if you accidentally delete a message, you can just shake the phone and it puts it back in the inbox?
Yeah, you gotta shake it pretty good.
Shake it like a Polaroid.
But yeah, then it pops up a little message. Do you want to undo trash? And there's either cancel or undo.
Cool,
yeah.
Cool. I've gotten in the habit of just assuming if I deleted something, I'm on delete, and I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to work. It seems like it works that way 90% of the time for me, but that is something that we would definitely like to get straightened out, because that does suck when you go to activate and you accidentally delete.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Jeff, at least they finally got previews back in mail. Did you notice that?
Oh, it's still a 3-finger touch.
It was still a single tap. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, there's issues, especially where the cursor lands, if it's going to land in the 2 or if it's going to land in where, the message area where you start typing. That's a buggy little bugger. Mm-hmm. But I got to admit that it's nice to be along the ride of this Apple project, all the iOS and all the High Sierra and stuff like that. It's nice that they're including us from the ground up, from building. They got a great accessibility team.
They do.
And so does Microsoft, really coming out strong. And it's just nice that we're on the leading edge of this. And yeah, there's glitches. The beta people are frustrated with some things and stuff, more so probably. Mm-hmm. But as they roll this stuff out, it seems like there's updates all the time. 11.01 is just dropping. So it's exciting to be on this cutting edge of accessibility mixed in with the mainstream projects.
Yeah.
There's bugs, there's annoyances, and we're dealing with them. We're not just complaining all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, these bugs that we do bring up, the little annoyances, none of them are major issues, right? They're just, pet peeves almost.
And sighted people have bugs too. And if you're going to play in the mainstream side of the pool, then you're going to have to deal with bugs just like everybody else. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, another thing I do like about mail, now having the actions option when in a mail message. Have you guys played around with that at all?
Oh, that's to let you, where you can reply and stuff right from within the message.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Threading of messages is another thing that seems to work a lot better in iOS 11.
It does.
Not everybody's going to like to do things the same way. So, you're never going to make everybody happy all the time. I think overall, getting used to that being on delete is really my only issue. I think overall they really did a pretty fantastic job with mail.
I agree. Yeah, if they could just fix that one bug, and they will. I know they will, probably in the next beta. And it's not, like we say, it's not a showstopper. So overall, I think...
No. And another thing... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right. I'm used to it.
You're used to...
Overall, I think...
And another thing... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Overall, I think...
And another thing... Sorry.
I'm used to it.
One bug that, like I said, it's not a big deal, but it is annoying. Deleting messages in the message app. No.
No.
How do you not notice that when you're...
Yeah.
I think if you close the app, I don't remember if you close the app and they disappear, or if you have to force quit messages. It's just annoying, because sometimes when you do flick over the nulls, the focus loses issue, and it's just something that you're like, oh, come on. How,
Yep.
Stuff like that makes you want to bang your head against the wall sometimes.
Yeah.
Have you guys played around with Type to Siri at all?
No, I haven't, mainly because if you type to Siri, then you lose the ability to talk to it.
Yeah, somebody pointed out that you could invoke the Hey Siri option on your phone, and that way if you want to use it, you'd have to Hey Siri, but you're losing the button and everything.
Yeah, I'm just so used to hitting the button.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's not an and/or option where if you want to type to it, you just tap on the screen and would start typing. So,
Brian, you mentioned Hey Siri.
Yeah.
I was looking for my phone, and so I used the command Hey Siri, and my watch opened up, and I was like, oh, I had forgotten that I upgraded to 4.0, where Siri is now on my watch. But I was like,
I wasn't talking to you.
talking to the other one. We have too many devices that talk. And
Yeah.
Jeff, what about the new design of the App Store? What do you think about that?
the App Store app is really cool. It's like going through a magazine.
Yeah.
And it just keeps on flowing, and you just keeps leading you into some more stuff of something of interest. I'm not the one that goes into the today stuff that much because
I never do, yeah.
there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't know about accessibility, and just like seeing AI when that came out, I knew it'd be there, so I searched for it and go for it.
Yep.
Music app too is something that's really cool. You go through that and it's laid out. The layout is really cool because it keeps on growing. If you like this, you might like this, and you can go into your playlist. And once you're in your playlist, you can make a station out of it. You can do all sorts of stuff because I subscribe to Apple Music, and it's really cool because I'm bridging and expanding my horizons. It is 2017 going on to 2018, Brian.
I'm a sensitive man.
Nobody will judge you.
Sensitive man.
Yeah, and what's really nice now, not having to do the one-finger double tap on the name of the app to have the update, what was updated, read to you. That's
Oh, yeah, you just flick through and it's automatic. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that a lot and everything. Because a lot of times I would do that one-finger double tap, and half the time it would open the app and I'd end up in there, or it would accidentally update an app that I didn't want it to update.
Oh, God, yeah.
Something that was pointed out to me, something that you could turn off, and, something that drives me bonkers is apps that are constantly asking you to rate them or review them, which is why we don't do that every 5 minutes on this podcast, because it will drive you bonkers. You can now turn that off in settings. Have you guys done that?
Oh, I did.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh, yes.
I believe it's under iCloud and App Store and everything. And
Yes.
Settings. Jeffrey Thompson, Apple ID, iCloud, iTunes and App Store, button. iTunes and App Store, button. In-app ratings and reviews, on. Off. Help developers and other users know what you think by letting apps ask for product feedback.
you may get a few that sneak through because not all apps, I guess, they're gonna, eventually it'll stop, but for the meantime, so if you got apps that are constantly bugging you to update them, go ahead and turn that off.
Nice.
Now, this was the biggest head scratcher to me outside of the notification on the iPhone. What happened to universal sign-in for Facebook and Twitter?
They took it out.
And kick them to the curb.
Why?
I don't know. I know that Facebook has their own sharing extension, so you can still share things that way. And Twitterific now has their own sharing.
Own share sheet, yeah.
And I think that Tweetings does too, but you can't just use Siri to
Nope.
to post anymore.
Yep.
It makes me so sad.
Yeah, and a lot of voiceover users really relied on that. I don't know how much the sighted community relied on that. I barely ever used it because when I post to my social networks, every word has got to be the way I want it. And
Yeah.
like I said, I seem to
Kinda
have
mine,
a
too.
foreign accent. So, Jeff, what are your thoughts about that? The removal of universal Facebook and Twitter.
Honestly, I never would use Siri to dictate a tweet or a Facebook because typically I'm using it for blind abilities, and I would not know what happened until it got published, and then sometimes it's too late. Why they removed it? It's all about Apple, and you'll notice on your new High Sierra, for all you Mac users, that when you go down to the drop-down list, all their stuff is first, like Documents, Apple, this, and then Dropbox took a back seat. It's further down the list. Apple stuff is at the top of the list. So, no, I don't dictate too much on my tweets because you never know what's going to go out there.
Well, that explains when you sent out that tweet by Blind Abilities that said you were having a Nazi party. You meant nachos party.
Yeah, dictation does make some crazy mistakes, and most of the time I catch them, but sometimes when I don't. But Nazi party takes the cake.
And Siri, big difference between Nazis and nachos.
Yes.
Huge. So one of them is really good.
Yes, and one of them is really not.
Really not. Now, I've noticed in a lot of apps, heading navigation seems to be a little off. For example, in my Scores app, I could flick from the batters to the pitchers and then use vertical navigation. And it's weird because, there's 15 games a night. On like 12 of the box scores, heading navigation works fine, and then on 3 of them it doesn't. It's completely illogical. It makes no sense whatsoever. So I don't know. Have you guys, I know, Allison, you said you've noticed it all throughout the iPhone. What about you, Jeff?
Brian, when it comes to the rotor, the word fickle comes to mind when I was trying to teach it to some people. You can go into the settings under accessibility and voiceover down the rotor, and you can actually rearrange your choices into bundles so they make more sense, that they're next to each other, like character, word, lines, that type of thing. But how come when I'm in certain apps or even in the mail or something like, why do I need horizontal, vertical, diagonal navigation? There's so much stuff in there. It's like, I wish we could limit that.
You're just saying you're a horizontal flicker. You refuse to go both ways.
I'll try anything, Brian. I'm buying Apple.
Jeff, it's 2017, almost 2018. It's completely okay to go horizontal and vertical.
Okay, nobody will judge you.
Well, those nachos.
the nachos will judge you, yeah.
I've actually got vertical navigation in my rotor set next to headings, so I just flick to the left once for headings. I've got that rotor memorized so good, and I get through box scores. And by the way, if you're a sports fan and you do not have sports scores and alerts, phenomenal app, very accessible. They constantly updating, and I've got an email into the developer right now, hopefully to follow up about. Him and I have spoken several times over the years, so I would highly recommend. And this even got me tweeting. I got a response from Grubhub, Allison. I know we talked about it before the show, but
it's a miracle.
Hallelujah!
Now, will it amount to anything? That's the question.
No, it's kind of like getting that response from Apple. We're aware of your problem. We know it exists. We can't tell you when it's going to be fixed, but it may happen. It's kind of one of those. We're passing your notes along to our developers, and I think they might have put an LOL at the end of it.
Yeah,
so.
It was implied anyway.
Totally implied. 4-finger tap, another thing I noticed seems to be a little off. When you do it at the top of the screen and the bottom, in Messages, you used to do it at the bottom, and it put you right near the text field. How are you guys finding, when you're using Messages, Alan, do you have a way to quickly get into the text field?
Alan?
Did I say Alan? You've
changed.
Hey, didn't we say it's okay to be, I'm going to step back from that. So, Allison, I should have drank all that cough syrup. When you use Messages, do you have a way to quickly get to the text box and not get stuck in a string of 15 past text messages?
Well, my bigger issue is that I get stuck in it tries to show me a bunch of different apps that if I hit the messaging apps button to try to make it go away, it's like Starbucks, and I'm like, no, I just want to get to the freaking edit field. Come on now. So no, there is no really easy way. I just have to flick, and then go into the edit field, and it's a little cumbersome.
I've noticed that too, and I wonder if we could turn that off, because I am really not liking when I'm trying to get to that message text field and I touch too far down and all of a sudden it's got a list of. I wonder if I could turn that off with Siri suggestions and search suggestions.
Maybe.
I wonder if there's a way to turn that off. I'll have to look into that.
Because I've literally never used an iMessage app. I know that they're very convenient for some things, supposedly, but I've never found a use for it.
No, me neither.
I've actually went in your Siri. You can go into Siri settings and turn off suggestions.
I turned off Siri suggestions, but I don't know. Do you have to turn search suggestions? Try saying that 7 times.
Yeah.
Is search suggestions a separate setting? Because I think I have Siri suggestions turned off already.
Hey Siri, open Siri settings.
Settings. Siri suggestions. Heading. Siri can make suggestions in apps or when you use search, look up, and keyboard. About Siri suggestions and privacy. Link. Suggestions and search. On. Suggestions and lookup. On.
Yeah, and another thing I noticed is when you do the 4-finger flick from left to right to apps, if you're on the last app and you do the 4-finger flick from right to left, you're in a list of other apps and everything, or you're back on your home screen, and, I don't like that and everything. Have you noticed that? Do you use that flick between apps, Allison?
I have to say that once it finally came to the iPhone, I was so used to just doing the app switcher that I never really built it into my workflow.
Okay. Yeah, I forget to use it a lot of the time too. So
Yeah.
it's just so. Yeah, these, like I said, we're not harping on. We're not saying, oh, this is just awful. They're just little pet peeves that we're having a show about.
No, and I would honestly say for anybody who's kind of on the fence about upgrading to iOS 11, go ahead and do it. There is nothing that's so bad that you can't muddle your way through.
Yeah, no, there's no showstoppers.
Nothing.
In fact, this next topic is phenomenal.
Yes.
I love the new drag and drop feature.
It's kind of amazing. Yeah.
It's so great now to select something for drag and just do a 3-finger flick to get to the next page.
Yep.
Find where you want to put it. I mean, this they hit out of the park. You really got to compliment Apple on that.
And you can drag multiple apps, and it's
Yep.
pretty amazing. Yeah. And I like that because back in the old days, I used to use a Bluetooth keyboard to do all my app moving, and that was literally the only way it would work. And then they made it better with the Actions rotor, and now with this way, it's even better. I'm really excited.
Boss Jock Jr.
A single finger double tap and hold.
Started editing. Drag Boss Jock Jr.
A single finger double tap locks in the drag.
Actions of Boss Jock is editing.
Single finger flicking up or down gives you the list of options.
Actions available. Drops available. Cancel drag. Create new folder with Boss Jock and Boss Jock Jr. Drop Boss Jock Jr. after Boss Jock. Drop Boss Jock Jr. before Boss Jock. Add to drag session.
Single finger double tap.
Dragging 2 items. MOTIV is editing.
Single finger flick up or down.
Activate default. Cancel drag. Create new folder with MOTIV and Boss Jock Jr. Drop Boss Jock Jr. after MOTIV. Drop Boss Jock Jr. after MOTIV. Add to drag session.
Single finger double tap.
Dragging 3 items. DJ Pro is editing.
We'll grab this one too. Let's add it to the drag. And single finger flick up or down.
Add to drag session.
Single finger double tap.
Dragging 4 items. Text expander is editing.
So we'll drag all these to the recording folder, and that will be their new home.
Recorders folder is editing. 5 apps. Cancel drag. Add Boss Jock Jr., MOTIV, DJ Pro to recorders folder.
And a single finger double tap puts them all right into that folder, and that's where I can find them.
Yeah, back in the old days, I got pretty good at moving apps on the iPhone to the next screen, but the iPad, it would take me forever sometime. I mean, I'd spend a whole day doing it. I'm like, I know I'm going to get you to this next page. And meanwhile, 3 hours go by.
Yeah.
The dog's like, hey, dude, you going to take me out for a walk? After I get this one app moved from page 3 to 2. But yeah, no, this drag and drop feature is really, really nice. And, I have yet to try dragging a file. I've heard that works as well. Should you want to drag a file into an attachment or something, I really haven't tried moving anything else except apps. I mean,
Me neither.
So, yeah. What about yourself, Jeff? Have you played around with dragging any kind of files or anything as an attachment?
It works wonderfly, and it works exactly the same way. So if you got this mastered, you got the next part mastered. Because in the files folder, I find all the files that are in my High Sierra, and I've linked up Dropbox, OneDrive, everything iCloud based is there, everything. And if you know how to flick and swipe, you can get it all. Just drag and drop.
Moving on to the Mac, is there going to be a drag and drop? I've always used Command C and Command V when moving files around or anything, but then I always have to go back and delete. I know there was an X way, but that never seemed. I'd always forget what the command was.
Command
to
Option
do that.
Command Option V. When you do Command C, and if you want to move instead of paste, it's Command Option V.
Okay, Command Option V just pastes it and it removes it from the previous location.
Yeah, Command Option V is like, oh, you actually wanted to cut that. Okay, we'll move it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so now I'm looking forward.
There's no straight up in your face cut.
Which is good because that would be painful and in your face cut.
Moral of this episode: do not take your scissors to your computer screen or your iPhone.
Or your face, yeah.
They've been updating. I'm still running Sierra on my Mac. I don't want to see if either of you have noticed this. Jeff, I know you're running High Sierra.
High Sierra, yeah.
Allison, what are you running? Are you running High Sierra in the beta, or?
I'm still running Sierra.
Okay. Anyway, so I've been, the updates have updated my computer, and this is a problem. This is a pretty serious problem because this happened 3 times now, and I've tried different voices. When in mail, and this was a problem going back about 3 cycles ago. All of a sudden you're typing and VoiceOver is way behind what you're typing. I'm talking like words behind.
Oh.
And I've changed the voices. I've tried this with Allison, with Alex, I think Stephanie, if that was one of them, or Suzanne. And I had to call Apple Accessibility, and they couldn't figure it out. Have you noticed this at all? Have you had any issues when typing after these latest updates to Sierra have run?
I turned key echo off, so I've honestly never run into that.
Okay. So key echo, so you don't have it say the characters or words as you're typing.
Nope. I just go type as I go along, and then I edit later, or I do the command semicolon for spell check.
I'm probably gonna have to go to that. So that might be an easy way to fix that and everything. I'm a very good typist, so if you are having that problem, there's your solution. If you are a good typist, just turn the key echo off and everything. I didn't even think about that. That's why we have Allison on the show. She's the brainy one.
That's right.
She's the brainy one. Jeff's the cute one, and I'm the muscle.
Mm-hmm. Hey, now wait. Can I be the brainy and the cute one? Come on now.
Sure. It sounded very weird me calling Jeff the cute one.
Hey, Brian, it's 2017 going on 2018. It doesn't matter.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Hi, Brian.
Stop it, Jeffrey. What about yourself, Jeff?
Oh, that's the first thing I noticed, the lag. So I shut off the character echo, and I just went to Word, and I started switching from Alex, the compact Alex. I kicked it around the block a couple times, then I just resorted to Word, and then other things like the menu bar. If you have the disappear menu bar, you couldn't access the second half, so I had to go into settings and lock the menu bar, and then it was perfectly fine. But usually you're midstream and doing something productive and everything when this all happens, and so it just like irks you a little bit. It irks me. Bless your heart, all you beta users out there. This is the first time I did it to the Mac, and that's my productivity tool. Yeah, I have a MacBook Pro, but this is my baby right here. And I like using it, and when you're running a beta, you're going to run into these little problems, so you better have thick skin to endure it a little bit, go around it and stuff. It takes a little more time, but you're kicking around. But make sure you report it to Apple, because that's what you're doing. You're actually testing this stuff out, and you're going to send them a list of stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that will help all of us.
So you've noticed the typing delay in High Sierra.
Oh, yeah, right away. I got done typing, and Alex is still saying, in the beginning.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I'm running High Sierra and I don't even know it. Because, I was getting really annoyed, and that typing echo, like you said, the solution is obviously to turn off typing echo, but that's not for everybody, because some people are not great typists. You were telling me, Jeff, verbosity control. Now, your verbosity control is your control option command left and right arrows, and they don't really have a lot of useful stuff in there. The voice you could quickly change. I do use it a lot to change the rate, because depending on what I'm reading.
Me too.
Yeah. You've told me that now has an extra key to it, right, Jeff?
Yeah, your pinky's got to go up and hit the shift, and then you get back to those same things.
Oh, my God, as if there weren't enough
keys
to hold down.
It's just a step to the left.
It's just a step to the left.
How you do I? So here, let's just go through it. When you're using Control Option Command Shift, and you right arrow, you're going to get voice, rate, pitch, volume, intonation. Then if you hit VOV, which is a nice stroke, you get verbosity, punctuation, typing echo, text attributes, numbers, capitals, and when status changes. That's all right there. Right arrow, left arrow. But the original Control Option Command, now that gives you navigations, commands, words, window spots.
Oh, so that's doing the rotor actions.
Yeah,
then.
Control Option Command. The other one was the where you add the pinky to the Control Option Command.
Yeah, why don't we add an extra key for people with small hands like me, and I have to try to hit the shift key now.
Right?
I can't stress enough to all voiceover users on the Mac, get yourself a numpad. If you don't have a keyboard, if you have a laptop, get a for $20 on Amazon. You get a USB numpad. It's tiny. And you're saying, was that a good or a bad
No, it's an interested
because you can customize every command on that numpad, and
nice.
it is so nice. Okay, for example, to jump to the beginning, is the FN VO shift left arrow. I do that with a 0-1.
Oh.
Much nicer,
wow.
huh?
Yeah.
And they got them for about $20 on Amazon. Like I said, they're USB. I'm sure they have some Bluetooth ones, but I believe the USB ones are about $20. Can't stress it enough. I think all voiceover users, and it does, because a lot of you are mobile. I'm fortunate. I'm using my iMac and everything at home, so I've got a keyboard with a numpad commander there. But yeah, it's
nice.
It's really great. I do love the customization, and now you can also customize, the keyboard, but that it's a lot nicer to use the number pad. And Allison, with the number pad, you could use 0, Option, Shift, and I want to say Control, so you could have like 300 different personal commands, which you're not going to remember.
Holy smokes!
But you could create an awful lot.
Yeah.
So I've got, for example, if I hit Insert and certain numbers, those will open my most used programs. And then I've got other commands. I try to put everything with the modifier so it makes sense and everything. But yeah, there's a great way of doing that.
Oh, cool.
So how's that new file structure looking, Jeff?
Well, first of all, I noticed that it seems snappy when I'm bouncing around from different applications, programs, and stuff like that. But I notice there's a lag, as we mentioned before, in the voiceover, especially like when I hit like VOI for items and headings. Yeah, there's a big delay there. It's like, come on. Let's go to pages. Now, when I'm doing pages and I want to select something, say I got a title that I got to cut and paste, separate from the body, I select it and it doesn't say anything. It does not say anything. So I really have to isolate what I want to cut and paste, and I can't do it because it won't read it.
You're not confused. You want that voice feedback so it confirms, okay, I've cut this, especially when cutting and pasting, because you don't want to accidentally, and then you got the Command Z, which will undo, but you don't want to have to always be doing that. Wow, that's not great to hear.
It's nerve-wracking. So that's why I was getting at, if you want to test beta, you got to be ready for this. So I absorb it pretty good, and I get around it, and, I'm in, so a few more days they're going to come up, and it'll just feel a lot better when everyone is suffering like me.
I've got a dog that's playing footsie pawsy with me as I'm trying to record this show. He's pushing me back, and I'm like, easy there, buddy.
Cute. Oh, mine's on the couch with me. He's laying down.
Brian's so warm and cuddly. It's all coming out with this episode.
Yeah.
I did give my guide dog a new rapper nickname. He already had one rapper nickname. He was Sir Nash-a-Lot. His new nickname is Nashy Nash and the Furry Bunch. Yeah, I'm a little weird.
That's okay. I call my dog Gary Glitter and Gary Gumdrop. So
Gary Glitter and Gary Gumdrop. We all have our pet name. He calls me Snookies.
Aww.
Snookies.
Allison, is the new Apple T available already, the 4K one?
It sure is. I have it set up, barring a few minor mishaps because I put the cable on the wrong HDMI on my little converter box thing.
Whoa, that sounds a little personal.
Yeah.
Allison, what converter box do you have?
So I have a 10 DAC converter box, but you can only, to get sound, for some reason, you can only put it in the HDMI that's opposite the side where the audio goes in, because there's 2 HDMI ports on there, but only the one actually works for my purposes.
And can you tell the listeners what the converter box actually does?
So what it does is you hook a pair of just conventional speakers. I just have an old pair of cheap computer speakers that I have hooked into the audio port port on this 10 DAC cable. And then I hook my Apple TV into the HDMI port on the box, and it fools the Apple TV into thinking that there's a TV hooked up. So you can essentially use the Apple TV without a TV, like you used to be able to with the old ones.
With the optical.
Yeah.
The optical. Yeah, I have the Apple, and I haven't used it in forever. I have the Apple 3G, well, not 3G, the Apple second generation TV?
Third generation still had the optical, yeah.
Okay, so I have the third gen one in the bedroom. I have it hooked up to a sound bar, and the reason I don't use it is the sound bar is just a little too loud, and I normally watch it really late at night, so I'm courteous of my... Believe it or not, I am a courteous neighbor. But,
wonders will never cease.
yeah, things are always amazing.
We're going to have to change the caption on your action figure.
Yeah.
What, Captain A-hole no longer suffices?
A is for the Big Apple, right?
That's right.
Yeah, Big Apple. Exactly. Very good, Jeff. Yeah, and the Apple TV just always disappoints me. I remember after the last update, I was really looking forward to the TV app, but guess what? It wasn't ready for prime time. Then when they finally did release the TV app, I was highly disappointed. It seemed a little cluttered, and I ended up, by now, I never even use it. The one thing I was looking forward to in this tvOS update was the Amazon Prime Video app, and it's not ready. It's not there. I knew I heard that.
It's not ready yet. It's coming. But tvOS 11 is fine. They've switched some of the stuff, so now you just get vertical navigation in the rotor, which you can still navigate, vertically or horizontally
not if you're Jeff.
with it. Oh,
He can't.
I'm all
doesn't,
about the
he doesn't
horizontal.
vertical. Yeah, he's...
yeah, that's right. That's right. You are closed-minded.
You're a hozo. You don't go both ways. You
great.
just won't go vertical.
You got to go vertical. Once you go vertical, you never go back.
I'm taking this lying down.
So the rotor is a little strange. Like when you're going to dismiss apps from the app switcher, it used to be that you could just do one counterclockwise twist from the list of apps and get right into actions, but I find that I have to rotor around for it more to then flick down and dismiss the app. On Netflix, I found that I was getting stuck in all the different recommendations they have, but there's a very easy way out of that. You just hit the menu button on the Apple TV, and then you're taken to search and categories and all the
I
normal
noticed that, yeah.
tabs of Netflix. I love this new Apple TV remote because it wouldn't happen often for me, but I would sometimes flip it the wrong way and try to use the wrong side of it for the trackpad. But now the menu button has a nice little circle around it, so as long as the circle's facing up and to the left, then you know that you are holding it the right way.
Yeah, I always have to make sure that the volume is on the bottom right. That's kind of the longer button and everything. And my cleaning lady, every time she comes to my apartment, she accidentally summons the Apple TV, and it scares the bejesus out of her.
Oh, jeez.
I am into vertical groping, and that's what the Apple remote taught me.
That's true. You do kind of have to vertically grope it. Yeah. See, so you are opening your mind a little.
You're expanding as we get closer to 2018.
That Blind Tech Show is really making me come out, I tell you.
That's right.
Stay tuned next week, folks.
Yeah, Will, Jeff.
We're all about being who we are on the.
We're all about exploring new frontiers here at that Blind
That's right.
Tech Show. And now, I know we're getting long here in the show, but we might as well mention it because both of you are Apple Watch users. What do you have to say? Like I said, I touched an Apple Watch once, just like a woman, and
you heard that, right?
I did. You'll never forget it.
Right here on That Blind Tech Show.
It's been confirmed. Anyhow, what's new and noteworthy, Allison, about the new WatchOS?
Well, I just love my new Apple Watch. It's way faster. I love my sports loop band that I got for it. It's really comfortable. I'm wearing it right now. In terms of just overall features in WatchOS 4, in the less than 24 hours that I've played with my new Apple Watch, I haven't found anything earth-shatteringly new, but it's more snappy, and I'm enjoying. I used to sort of struggle to wear my old Apple Watches because everything was just really slow, and with this new watch, everything has really sped up, and signing up for the LTE on my watch wasn't a big deal. I'm getting 3 months free from T-Mobile. And then it actually said it was $15, but I get a discount for auto pay, so I don't actually know what it'll be.
$99.99.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out in December, I guess.
Well, Jeff, what about you? You didn't get a new Apple Watch, but I assume you updated to the new Watch OS?
Yeah, well, with this watch that I have right now and the new operating system on the Apple Watch, it's very lethargic compared to what I'm hearing from Allison. Hers is snappy. Damn, that sounds good. So I'm going to go in and look at the watches and check out the new band and see what I can do. Because, my watch has half the processor that Allison's does, and I just feel shorted.
Yeah, I noticed a definite difference having had the Series 0 and the Series 2 and now the Series 3. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, well, that's great. It sounds like everything, for the most part, is progressing in the right direction. We talked about some issues on this show, but a lot of them are, minor things that you can get around. Anyhow, well, that was a pretty comprehensive, what we think about so far. Really only playing around for the last week or so with iOS 11. Jeff running his High Sierra. Allison, are you going to update the High Sierra?
I'm getting my backup drive on Monday so that I can safely back up Sierra. And then...
Did you not run regular, what's the backup program on the Mac called? Time Machine.
Well, I don't do Time Machine. I do Super Duper, but I wanted to get a new drive that was USB-C so I wasn't having to fiddle with dongles every week.
Mm-hmm. And which one are you getting?
I got it's called a Lossy rugged portable hard drive. I'll send you the link to that too.
LACIE. Yeah, I believe Lossy, right?
I think.
Allison, it's like when you speak, it's like E.F. Hutton speaks. I listen because it's just so far, ever since I've been following you, you mentioned these products and stuff, and I go look them up, and all these people are using them, and it's like, where have I been? It's like,
Jeff, thank you for the first E.F. Hutton reference since 1982.
Okay, confession time. I don't know who E.F. Hutton is.
It would always be on Sundays during football. They'd be like, want financial advice? Ask E.F. Hutton.
There'd be a crowd noise, and it goes, when E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
It was this huge ad campaign in like the early 80s. Wow, Jeff, time to catch up on your pop culture.
Well, I just ordered my National Geographic subscription, so give me a break.
Here they have some nice naughty pictures in there.
There's a movie coming out called Star Wars. It looks kind of interesting. It's got a large walking dog.
I just ordered Roots.
Roots. Oh, is that series that where
Roots.
Plymouth Rock?
Or do you say Roots?
Roots. I think it's Roots. Yeah.
Oh, Roots.
Is that like Roof getting up on the roof?
Yeah. Roof.
My dog roofs.
Wow, we have really jumped ship.
We have lost the plot.
Where's that script?
If you're still listening, or if this makes the light of day, anyhow, this is That Blind Tech Show. We want to hear from you because we want to know what you like and what you don't like, and if you have any suggestions, stuff you want us to talk about, and make silliness out of it, as well as give you some good information. You can tweet us in at Blind Tech Show out there on Twitter, and you can email us in always thatblindtechshow@gmail.com. Allison, we want to tell the good listeners where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter, being at turns informative and controversial, at Hot4Technology. That's Hot, the number 4, and Technology.
And Jeff, what about yourself? Where can the good listeners find you?
The good ones can find me at known as Jeff on Twitter and Blind Abilities on Twitter.
And I guess for now, we are out.
That Blind Tech Show with Bryan Fischler. That Blind Tech Show.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations
and the
reality of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.
Blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, Blind Abilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.